Hi, Elsie Clements here with the newest goal update. Apparently, making a goal for me this year is starting to work out a little better. Today is January 31st of 2022, and by the time you get this video posted online and edited, it will be after February 1st of 2022. And I'm happy to say that I finished my drafting for the second draft of my story, which is a fantasy shifter romance story, not urban fantasy, just a fantasy story. And it's ironic, it's crazy because I've been going through the save the cat method the entire time of doing the first preliminary outline, which is getting all the story beats to save the cat. Then I did the outline for each act involving the theme and everything else from the Save the Cat method, and now we're at finishing it. And ironically enough, I didn't even have to really write out Act 3 because when I did the different points for the third act and then the finale, it turned out I didn't really need to write it because I made so much detail in that third act structure that okay, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm good. Act 3 is done. Now I can get in the writing process. So the goal has been shifted to by the end, hopefully by the end of the year, draft 2 is done. I can reread it, go through the entire step process, see what extra stuff is in there that can be taken out to be making a more cohesive story. Then I can work on the editing process. And I got some stuff here to help me with it. A book I found online was called Intuitive Editing, a creative and practical guide to revising and writing. I didn't buy the Kindle edition. I wanted to get the book edition, which it was on Amazon. It's not, this book was $14.99. I think the Kindle edition is cheaper and the hardback version is probably more expensive, but I wanted to go in the middle, which was the Intuitive Editing. I have the soft, what they call the soft book edition. I mean, it feels like a textbook. It really does. They have tips in here for suspension tension, stakes, character, you know, all the stuff you need to edit. And I think I found this on TikTok, so I'm gonna try this method. Here's the thing about TikTok. I wasn't expecting TikTok to be this much of a help when it comes to certain things. Like a lot of stuff that you do on listen or see on TikTok, you thought I heard something. You have to take with a grain of salt because some techniques or tips you get aren't great, some are good. This one looks like it's going to be good because I did kind of read through it a little bit. Like all the chapters, like the first chapter, you know, if you look, the first was introduction, approaching the edit. Like they literally tell you how to approach the edit, the micro edits, the suspension tension, the points of view, getting feedback. They even have a frugal author's guide, which is great for me because I'm on a budget because stuff is ending by the end of the year, so I kind of need that. So I'm going to try to use that book. Also, I have my one of two, because I did two of them painted. The second one was for a TikTok video, but I also had an extra because they sent me two in the Amazon when I got the purchase. But here's my Alpha Smart. This one, I'm probably going to respray and find key stickers for them to redo the keys, but the battery on this thing, and these are just AA. Like, let me just take this out real quick. These are AA Duracells I had for like 2 years. And the battery life on this thing is insane. It doesn't drain batteries like regular, newer electronic items do, which says a lot about consumerism, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. But I got this. I also got my iPad with its keyboard. I don't always use the iPad keyboard because sometimes I need to feel the kickback on the keyboard. That's why I changed my, even though I have an Apple Magic keyboard, like the extended one that's like almost like 180. My husband really does not like me spending money on those type of products. Sometimes the keyboards are flat, and you know that's Apple's staple product, but sometimes I need to feel the key pushing back up on my finger Almost feels like a realist typewriter type of situation. Even my work computer has a typewriter like thing, and those typewriter keyboards are like $40 at most. If that's what you want to spend, at most it'd be like $40. Most of them come with the mouse and the keyboard. Like the one I got for my work computer, it has the keyboard and mouse with a little USB. The one I have for the Mac was just a Bluetooth one. I can always just get another one if it breaks. I doubt it's gonna break. If anything, I just have to buy batteries, which some people find annoying, and I understand why some people find that particular portion of typing annoying, buying batteries. But you always buy rechargeable batteries, and depending on your computer or your keyboard, those batteries last about, like, the keyboard and mouse that I originally got for this work computer right here lasted me for 4 months, I want to say, before it died. And then that one in there, that one just started dying off, which I then had to replace with a regular computer, battery. But batteries I can just kind of get from like Dollar Tree if I really was on like a tight budget. But I always go like Duracell or Energizer, and they last me a while. So there's that. So I have some of the tools necessary, which is my Alpha Smart. I got my mechanical keyboard, which is not the Apple one, the typewriter keyboard. And I'm probably going to use the keyboard, the Apple keyboard more, or this outside of here. Because here's the thing, when I get in a writing mood, I'll sit here for like hours, and it'll get late, and my husband sleeps in the bedroom, and then he always for like an hour. He goes, "I'm trying to sleep. Can't you wait till morning?" Or he'll go, "I'm going to pull the Wi-Fi," and I just look at him like, "You ain't pulling nothing." So I'm trying to help. It's great to be in that type of writing mood, but I love the clacking of the keyboard. My husband hates it when he's sleeping. It drives him bananas, but we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Now, I have this video up and going. You know what's crazy? What's going on TikTok? Everybody's been talking about books being banned. Like, I live in Pennsylvania, and I know books are banned. Our state's purple. Let's be all honest here. My state is purple. The major cities are blue. Some of the boroughs are blue. But for the most part, our state is red. That's why I say we're purple. We're a mixture of everything. So with book bans that's been going on, that people are talking about, people don't want to talk about critical race theory. People don't want to say, my child shouldn't be exposed to certain things. There's stuff that I want to talk about, I don't want my child exposed to. I've gotten to the point where I go, as a parent, if the school is banning books, then you're going to have to buy the books. And I know it sounds messed up because you're like, well, no, school should be free for education. But here's the thing. Funding and parental influence are one of the key factors of what goes on in a school. And if a bunch of parents do not want their child being taught what they consider critical race theory, whether it be critical race, LGBT stuff, divorce, religion, change of families, then it's up to you as the parent to teach your child. That's the way the world is kind of going at this point. It's up to you as the parent or as the educator to discuss, not so much educator in the family, I should say, not the teacher itself, to teach these kids, because the school can only do so much. And I come from a background where a lot of my family are teachers. And they even say, one of my teachers, my uncle is a assistant principal, and he says if the parent fusses enough, and if enough parents get together and say we don't want this in the school and we don't want to talk about this in the school, then the only thing they can go is say okay. That's why I understand that why people are upset about books being banned, especially if you're the one who wrote the book. But at the same time, this is where you kind of have to get together with the parents, or the parents have to intervene and teach on their own time or talk on their own time, because you can't rely 100% on the school for teaching or doing books. When I was in school, one of the books we read, and this is like in 9th grade, was Cry the Beloved Country, which is about apartheid South Africa. Then I read Native Son, which was considered a Mulberry Award. I just saw that they took Native Son off because of the black issues in the book. It was about a guy, about being black during the times, I think the 20s and the 30s. He attributed to a murder of a white woman, And it's all these circumstances, so you kind of find out, I can't remember all the time, I don't think he did it, and he was just pinned for the frame, or he did do it, and he was trying to hide it. He even killed his pregnant girlfriend. And you think, oh my God, that's horrible, that's awful. But he was talking about his experience as a black man during them times. He knew he had to hide. And I'm not saying the character is innocent or guilty. Again, you have to read the book for yourself. Or better yet, read, what's the other one? To Kill a Mockingbird. I wouldn't be surprised that book gets pulled off the shelves. But it's a coming of age story. And it also talks about the racist thing. Like one of the character, the male black character got put in jail for a crime he didn't commit, and he ended up getting killed in prison trying to escape. And it showed with him having a bad hand or a bad arm, he couldn't have did what he did to that person, to that white woman, but he still got put in prison. So there's all these books out here like that, and they're trying to get rid of it, and it's irritating, but at the same time I understand why the school does it. The school can only do so much. That's what I'm boiling down to what I'm saying. Schools can only do so much, and it's up to you as the parent to basically be that parent. And if you're the one who wants to teach your child critical race theory, you're going to have to be the one to do it, not the school. Because there's just too much. And it's too much for the school. And some people are going to be in my comments like, no, the school should be doing blah, 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 blah. It's a double-edged sword. That's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of a double-edged sword, depending on funding, depending on teachers, depending on... There's so much going on right now in 2022 with the mask mandate being up and down. So one minute they're banning it, next minute they're another banning it. You can only quarantine for 5 days. You can't quarantine for 14 days. And it's too much. It's too much. So at some point, as a parent, you need to step in. Thing I wanted to say real quick, or just talk about. Tell me why I just found out on my Xbox Series X that I can upload footage to my iMac through a flash drive. I'm so mad about that. Like, you have no idea how I've been feeling. I've been frustrated for months trying to figure out how to upload footage from my Xbox to my iMac because Microsoft doesn't like Mac and whatever. I don't care. There's all the same stuff to me. But tell me why I plugged that thing in. I played 30 minutes of Resident Evil 2 gameplay. And then I was recording for my podcast. I pull out the thing. I plug it into my Mac because I was trying to see if it's going to work on my Mac or do I have to switch over to my Windows to Mac thing. Now, I still had to use the Windows to Mac to convert the flash drive to the file needed to record data from the iMac. But I pulled it out. I plugged it in and boom, there's MP4 file. I was like, are you kidding me? You telling me all this time, like, and I think it's one of those things Microsoft didn't want to tell the consumer because they want you to buy Microsoft only products. So my podcast episodes are gonna have footage now, but it's like, it's insane the level of hoops I kept researching that this wasn't smacking me dead in the face. Like, it was such an easy solution. And I had 128 gigabyte USB 3.0 flash drive, and they're only like $32 on Amazon. Maybe cheaper. I doubt it. I can just drive up to Best Buy and get another one if I need to. Just, I feel a ways. I really do feel a ways that I spent months lamenting over data, which, by the way, you think I wouldn't lament so much because I know a lot of people don't watch these videos and they don't listen to my podcast, but still, it was insanity. But yeah, now I got data, so if I want to talk about any subject, I now can use the footage from my gameplay, because I can record up to an hour of gameplay. I doubt I'll be talking for a whole hour on a podcast. Sorry about that. But now I have a way to record everything, so there's that. And as far as my book list goes, oh boy, I've gotten through the first book, which is like this Inuyasha like story about this demon who falls in love with this woman, and now I'm reading The Iron Widow, and then hopefully I'm gonna go through the entire list. The problem I'm having is I'm realizing I have to slow down, and this is gonna sound sacrilegious to some book readers, I had to take, if I find a book that sounds interesting on, and now here comes the truck. Driving slowly. Just pass on through. Why not? Just, there it is. So, let me see, what was I thinking? If I find an interesting premise on Book Talk, I'm literally taking a spiral notebook and writing it down because I need to keep a list of all the books I'm reading because I can go through a book list on Kindle. I can just like keep purchasing, press and purchase, and I am not keeping track of the spending like I should, which is insane. And what kills me is like my husband. I love my husband. But he doesn't understand how the book industry works. He really doesn't, because I think the next book I'm going to read is The Red Palace, and I think that's the next one. I got to go in the other room and find out what the next book is once I'm done Iron Widow. But he went, "Why don't you just go to the library and get these books?" I'm like, honey, some of these books are not licensed by the library, and there's a whole thing about book licensing to libraries. And let's say, and that means I have to take time off of work, drive to the good here, and I could go on a whole thing about libraries because I got a library in the black area, and then the book and library in the suburbs. And library in the suburbs gets better funding and better stuff than the book in the hood. So figure that one out. But a lot of the books I want to read, they're not licensed, and it's insane. And I put in on the library database, hey, this needs to be put up for rental so we can rent these books. But we'll see what happens. I know when it comes to my book reading after the Iron Widow, I'm going to read The Red Palace. I know eventually I'm going to get to the next Crescent City book, but that's not until March, so I have time. I'm hoping by the next vlog I have more updates on goals and what have you. But again, and there goes ads. I was trying to repause this thing on Roku, and Roku does what it wants. It puts 2 or 3 ads on here. But anyway, oh, there it is. Finally able to pause it. But hopefully in the next video, because it's already going on 20 minutes, I'm looking at the timer. I should have better updates. Hopefully I'll have do more research on how to get beta readers, how to get more people in your inner circle, that sort of thing. Basically having a better video lineup than just me rambling. Now again, if there are other topics I want to talk about, like one day I want to talk about Book Talk, there's or BookTube, and publishing. I'm gonna I'll keep you guys updated on that. Other than that, the only other news I have is that I've been reading, I'm listening to Brandon Sanderson's lecture on YouTube, because he has like a whole, like, it's almost like a masterclass, but at least I can pause, go to the bathroom, come back, and all that stuff, and the information is going to be there. And he's good. Brandon Sanderson, for everybody who does not really care for Brian Sanderson, he's good at lecturing. Like, I'm actually enthralled in what he has to say. He uses great examples. He's walking back and forth. He's just not sitting there like, I'm bored. It's just another lecture. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. I'm kind of bored. Da-da-da-da-da. Like, Brandon Sanderson has the energy. And I wish I could take this class in, like, real life. I just don't live nearby, which is ironic. I'm in Pennsylvania, and driving to Washington, D.C. is, what, a 2-hour drive? But, I'm saying I wouldn't be going there every day because I work. But if there was like a lecture, and he was back in DC, I would go back down there to see him. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I've been keeping up with his lecture. His lecture's pretty good. And if you're trying to get into the writing and stuff like he is, I would suspect I would go into taking Brian Sanderson's lecture. It's really free. It's on YouTube. If you just look up Brandon Sanderson, just put it in the search engine, his lecture comes right on up. And plus he has a podcast, which I kind of listen to when I can. I'm gonna probably do a whole different video on podcasting alone, but this video is kind of going on long enough. But Brandon Sanderson's lecture is really good, so I'm gonna keep up with that. Maybe I'll do a video on that just alone of all the stuff I've learned from him. And yeah, I guess that's it for this month's update. But I'll chat with you guys again soon. Bye bye.